Ooh, welcome back to another episode of WittyBantr. Your hosts Nabil and Daniel are here. And then we are missing Anika again. You know, a lot of tardies.
Yeah.
A lot of tardies. I don't know what kind of program she thinks this is, but last time she came in halfway through and
Well, towards the end,
right.
when the light was flickering,
Right.
that issue has now been resolved as of this point, according to
So
Nabil.
I hope. I just tightened the bulbs up. I've been going on a little bit of a diet recently. Been limiting my caloric intake to about 1,600 calories. What I do is I make a three egg scrambled egg, one piece of sourdough bread, some butter on that for breakfast. That's about 500 calories. Then I have later on a bowl of oatmeal with another piece of bread with peanut butter on it. That's about 500 calories. Oh, and blueberries and agave in the oatmeal. And then I do that same thing again, kind of.
You don't have dinner?
Kind of around dinner. I just have the same oatmeal, peanut butter, bread thing.
How do you know that's the calories? Are you tracking on MyFitnessPal or?
I mean, I just added up the calories of those meals. And that's all I eat.
Okay.
And then I added 100 extra.
So what were you at and what are you at as of this morning?
So I was at 210 at some point. This is before I even started, really. I dropped down to like 207, and now I'm at 203.
Okay. And 190 is your peak performance? Is that when you...
yeah, I guess I don't know what my peak performance is.
Is that the lowest you've gone to? What was the lowest?
Lowest I've ever gone in my adult life is probably like 190. I got to 180 one time, but that was in...
that was probably in New Jersey?
No. Actually, I don't even know because I never weighed myself.
Oh, really?
So I don't know how low I got in New Jersey.
You might have gotten to 185.
I want to get back to my New Jersey weight. And it's not the looks, it's like the feel. Like I feel like I'm like
more energy,
agile. Like there's less
quick
weight to like carry around.
That's true. On your body as well, like joints and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
That'll be
and I can fit in my suits and stuff. And when I get into the interview stage, I want to be able to fit into my proper work clothes again.
What are your thoughts on? I saw a video on fighters that like look overweight, but they're actually like they do a lot of cardio and they end up winning a lot of these competitions. Do you think just because you look overweight that you are overweight, or do you think you can run like triathlons, look fat, but like be healthy? Do you think that's a thing?
I think most of the time, if you look overweight, you probably are overweight.
Right. But in regards to athletes,
to athletes, I mean, they're a very specific type of person. So yeah, they're probably healthier than a non-athletic person who looks the same.
Right.
I don't know.
Like
if
how
it's
their
safe.
heart is.
Yeah, I don't know how safe it is to carry on if they actually do have a lot of fat around them.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know how safe it is to carry that like an excessive amount of fat on your body.
Right. But you just go based off of feeling, or is it?
Actually, it's very food driven.
What does that mean?
When I was in New Jersey, I lost weight because I was very consistent about what I ate, and what I ate was relatively healthy. Basically, a bowl of chickpeas and some peanut butter and bread was the majority of that. And actually, at one point, I was having 2 slices of pizza every day from my lunch place. Well, one because we got 50% off because our company subsidized it. But yeah, then there was a point where like I was eating 2 pizzas a day and I was still like slim. But so the whole thing, I lost weight not because I said I want to lose weight necessarily, but it was more of, okay, I want to pick a meal so I don't have to think about what am I going to eat when I'm hungry.
Right.
And I happened to pick relatively healthy things other than the pizza. And
that was 2 pizzas a day?
2 slices of pizza.
2 slices.
Yeah, 2 New York style sized pizzas a day for a little bit. That wasn't all the time.
Right.
But like I'd be at work and sometimes I'd eat my chickpea sandwich, and then I'd say, I'm still a little hungry.
Right. I think
So,
caloric intake is always like underestimated. Like some
Oh
people
yeah,
think you
I
have
agree.
to like,
Have 2,000 a day.
yeah, well that as well as like you have to have breakfast. Now a lot of people are doing intermittent fasting where they're not having breakfast.
Right.
Or that's like a meme too. Like millennials are like, they're so poor. They've found a way to call skipping
Skip
breakfast and
Oh.
calling it intermittent fasting. But yeah, I saw a video on like some guy who showed how much it takes to exercise 100 calories, and obviously
It's a
like,
lot more
what?
work.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think
So
calories is huge. I mean, I lost all that weight without exercise in New Jersey.
mhm.
That was all diet alone.
And that's not to say even if you are at a lower caloric intake and you are losing weight, you could still be unhealthy.
That's
like you're
true.
not
If you're
getting
not getting
magnesium
enough.
and all those
Right.
zinc and
So
all
I
that.
have looked into that in the food that I'm eating.
That-
So like the fruit that I now got a mix. I used to get frozen blueberries, and now I have a bag of frozen mixed fruits because I was missing vitamin C. Blueberries, I guess, don't have vitamin C.
Blueberries was in the news recently for some other like Alzheimer's or something. I don't know.
Okay. Well, the mixed
it
bag of fruit has blueberries, but anyway, so I made sure to look into all the things. I'm getting my fiber. I'm getting magnesium, whatever, through the oatmeal, through the eggs. The only thing I'm a little concerned about is, or I guess I'm not even concerned, I'm just confused, is that so 3 eggs, that 1 egg has a lot of cholesterol. And I mean, I look at the recommended dosage of cholesterol a human should have. It's based on the 2,000 calorie diet. 1 egg is like 100% of the cholesterol you should have in a day, or something like that.
Okay.
So 3 of them is way over.
Hmm.
But then after doing some research, I don't know, it's a mixed bag. Some people say that's okay. That kind of cholesterol is fine.
And then other people say no, it's not.
Yeah, and then
You'll
there's just
have-
traditional sources they just say that you should have no more than this much cholesterol in a day.
Right.
So it's unclear, like, is this?
I think when you
That's
get down
all
to
good.
that, it doesn't really matter. Like even with the whole debate with brown rice versus white rice, like there was like I'm sure it's still the case. People still think like, oh, brown rice is more like fibrous and like better for you than white rice.
I mean, but you just answered it. That's the only benefit, is if you want more fiber in your diet,
Right.
then
And there's also
pick
more
brown rice.
But there's also like there's really no difference, but the trade-off you're doing.
Do you know what the actual difference is? Like,
yeah, or I don't know the actual numbers, but
no, not the numbers, but like, for example, the difference between white flour and wheat flour is that white flour is further processed. So in a wheat grain, you have 3 things. One's called the endosperm. One's called, and there's 2 other pieces to it. Basically, white flour is only the endosperm. It's like the whiteness of the grain extracted, and then the whole wheat is all 3 of those,
right?
And therefore you get more fiber.
I don't think that's not the case with white versus brown. But
Rice?
Okay. With rice, the difference.
Rice is
it's not like more processed. I'm sure you could get more processed rice, but I don't think that's the difference. They're actually like 2 different types of grain.
Oh, okay.
And in brown rice, you can get more nutrients, but it's more calorically dense than white rice. So, but like, again, like I don't think there's going to be a major difference between you having 2 eggs and 3 eggs and having white rice versus brown rice. I think it's a step in the right direction to go that way, but like people underestimate how many like ice creams they have and how many cookies and how many burgers they eat. Like that is the like main
if you're looking
issue. If you're
not at
looking
that
at the
point,
micro issue of like, oh, what about this nutrient, when you should be looking at macro.
If only thing you were having was rice, then you can have that discussion. But yeah, if you're having cheeseburgers and pizzas, don't even think about this micro stuff.
I think that's like 98% of people.
Yeah, probably.
Unless you're at like an athlete level, which even in their case, a lot of the time they don't even care about
Yeah, that's
nutrition,
true. Yeah, that's
or some
true.
of them don't.
And then another thing is sodium. I just not that I eat out that much, but so
Well, any
sodium,
frozen things you have, or
right? But yeah, sodium, I guess, increases your blood pressure because your body absorbs more water. So more
Right.
water in the veins means your heart has to push harder to get everything going through your veins. So I guess that's not really a concern of mine because even in New Jersey, I did the Friday, Saturday, Sunday thing that I explained maybe to you a month ago, was where I would eat out on those 3 days, and that would be the only meal I eat in the whole day.
right.
And if you do that, I think the amount of sodium you have will be fine if that's the only thing you eat in that whole day.
Right.
But I'm not even doing that now. So
Did you hear about like pink Himalayan salt and stuff? There was like a craze for that as well.
Don't we have that?
We have that, but like people are trying to say that pink Himalayan salt is healthier for you than regular sea salt and table salt. And the argument was that because it has like different minerals that aren't found in the other salts,
Mhm.
that it's healthier. But the amount of like it's very small, basically, the amount of minerals you get from that. So even that is
Yeah.
a myth.
Yeah, I think an important part
It's
of
more
keeping a
expensive,
consistent diet is keeping it simple. So if you start doing this like deep dive on micro stuff and you want to achieve some sort of dietary goal, like it's gonna make it much harder, I think.
Munam does that.
I'm sure he does, because it's too much for you to think about. You remember you have to keep a in order to keep a consistent diet. It also should be relatively simple.
Yeah.
That's why I'm always looking for dishes that require not a lot of dishes.
Cleaning.
Exactly, because it just adds to the complexity and then the effort you have to put in,
Mhm.
and then you're not going to want to. Prepped meals that's what I did in New Jersey. I'm not doing that now. It does require some effort on
think
one
it's
day of the
needed-
week. I think it's
needed
very
when
important.
you're working, or like
Yeah,
working in an
that's
office.
true. That's true. If I had a job, I mean, I can't boil oatmeal at my
Yeah.
work. I don't think. Depends on
I mean,
where
you
work.
could, but like I don't think you'll want to. Like
If I
even-
could, I
even-
would. I think.
Even if there was a stove there, I don't think you would.
I think I might if there was a stove. Actually, trying to think of my last.
Well, even
job.
then, you can just use a kettle. What do you need to use?
Can you?
You literally just get a bowl or even a microwave. You just water.
But I like to boil my oatmeal and then I drain it in the
Oh,
sink
okay.
and try to get the starch out.
I mean, you could. If you just had a kettle, which
Right.
most workplaces do,
Right.
and you would only need a strainer at your workplace, and they have cabinets.
But I agree. In most situations, if you're working,
yeah, you
prepping
need to,
meals is the way to go.
which I'll probably do today. I have my meal prep tofu.
But yeah, for me, it's like I didn't even.
What's your reason? What's your why?
Let's see. What was the why in New Jersey? The why in New Jersey was really. Look, bottom line is. You're the only source of food. You either make your own food or you buy it outside. I was not going to buy it outside every day, even though at some point I had pizza every day. But for all my meals, it's unrealistic to buy all your meals every day. So it ends up being, okay, I have to cook it. Now I'm lazy. It has to be very easy and the least amount of work. And so I guess that's what drove me to do meal prepping stuff. And when I'm thinking about picking foods, I usually look at items that don't expire very fast, that have long shelf life. And then I also look for things at low sodium and something that's relatively healthy, I guess. And so I landed on chickpeas. And it just so happens that if you eat a lot of chickpeas, you'll lose a lot of weight. There's a lot of fiber in there, and it fills you up.
It's very nutritious.
Yeah. So now I've kind of replaced that with some eggs and oatmeal. So let's see how that goes. I was trying some chickpea dishes, but this is a lot easier. And yeah, I don't know. Maybe I lost my taste for chickpeas, but yeah, there's no weight goal. I never weighed myself. Although I'm weighing myself now for a couple times. I did do a lot of walking. For a long time, I was taking public transport, so I'd walk to the train station, standing in the train station. But now I do walk 1 mile every day for the last several days. So my goal, I guess, my goal is just to be able to fit nicely in my pants. And I know there's a point where my pants had a little bit wiggle room. At my peak in New Jersey, as in peak of less weight, I was like, whoa, like there's actually, the pants are kind of loose. So maybe that's my goal. Fit in my suit or work clothes. And spend the least amount of time worrying about food.
Yeah. I think
so
for
I
me,
can focus on
it would
programming.
be more of like a monetary reason. The losing weight and being
that too.
fit
Actually,
is good. But like for me, I've kind of noticed like just eating out versus when I was doing meal prep, like you kind of wonder like, where's my paycheck go?
Yeah, I mean, if you calculate, would you say you eat out
every
day for lunch, 5 days a week for the whole month?
Yeah, I would say that.
And you would say the whole meal costs.
The only thing I will say though is I'm not paying for breakfast because I'm not eating it, but I'm sure there's other things like I'm buying like coffee and stuff like that play into it. And even dinner, I don't like usually either pay for it or like, sometimes.
But if you were
But yeah, I agree. Like 15
bucks 15
day,
times 5 is 50 75
times per
4
week times 4
is 300.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a hefty amount.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah. No, I agree. And actually the only reason I would buy stuff in New Jersey for lunch, the pizzas, was because they're 50% off. It was literally $1 a slice. So $2 a day. Yeah. I was like, that's not a bad deal.
Yeah.
And it was for everything too. It was 50% off on all the, I could have ordered anything, although the place didn't have that great of food, but
yeah. But that's another thing I noticed is some of the places aren't like that amazing.
Yeah.
Like food wise. And like they charge, like even yesterday when I had the, the pho, it was like $15 for the meal. But like on top of that, I had to get cash because they didn't accept check.
Man,
so that's like
I
a
hate
$3.
those
Yeah. So
yeah,
it's like
$3 extra ATM fee.
I was like, dude, I could have had a fancy meal at Woodside Grill or something.
These cash places, they're way behind the times, man. Like, first of all, we're in the online age.
They can do it, but like,
I know they don't want to pay the 2% fee that they get charged for transactions.
But like, you have to have a crazy demand for your, because like I've seen small businesses like there's a sandwich shop, and then there's also another pho place that is cash only in San Jose. But those places are like crazy busy, so it's like, dude, even if they did they are continuing to do cash only and they're losing those customers. I still think that they have like a line out the door. Like, I don't think they're losing a crazy amount of business. They probably get more business if they had the credit card, debit card thing, and the 3% I don't think is going to eat that much of their margins. But I think in those cases, in those rare cases where your problem is I'm getting too much business, I don't think it matters.
Yeah. So what is the reason you think they aren't going with a credit card system?
I think it's the 3% issue.
Yeah.
But in those cases, sometimes they don't want more business. Like, as weird as it sounds, like some even mechanics will like turn away people if it's not worth their time. Right. Or if they're already backed up. Like, if they're already backed up and, sure, they could schedule it and it'll take a few days and the person really wants to go to that place. I think for them, it's like they still want some of the break times.
Let's take just the restaurant business. So we think they don't do that.
I think they don't do it because of the 3%.
Yeah. And then the whole not more business thing. I mean,
I think they're
how
getting
does that-
enough business.
yeah, but how does that relate to the credit card, the having a card swiper?
Because if they, yeah, I guess it wouldn't really matter. Because if anything, it would just make their lives easier. They don't have to calculate or
I
have
think-
cash in hand.
I think also is probably some sort of tax evasion
Yeah, that's true.
because
Probably.
with just cash, there's no way.
Yeah,
that-
yeah, it's
the
actually
government's gonna
incredibly
know.
suspicious when you
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah.
Especially, what was it, Shalimar? They're like cash only, and then they
Oh,
have
yeah.
like a machine under
Seems
there.
like a lot of immigrant businesses do that.
Well,
that
the
fair to
sandwich
say?
shop, I don't know if they're Italians or what, but
Which sandwich?
Sandwich
Which
shop.
sandwich shop?
in San Jose, it's called Freshly Baked. I think.
Okay.
And they have like freshly baked goods or bread for their sandwiches and stuff.
Mm.
It's usually like,
So
yeah, I'll
it's
agree.
probably just low income
Sometimes
people with
it's just-
people with not enough money is basically what it is.
Right. Well, even then, I think they still make enough money. I don't think.
Yeah, if they can pay rent.
Yeah, like they can pay rent. They're just cheap.
Yeah,
Um,
but yeah. So I mean,
But
they're gonna first of all, brick and mortar stores in general are probably. I don't know about food because you can't really get like fresh food from online.
right.
But if they don't get on in the digital age and where people stop carrying cash, then
Yeah.
that might become a problem for them.
I don't think it will. I think they'll still have they have the debit machine or the ATM machine in their thing. But
do
I
you
do think in general, yeah, everyone should adopt it because one, it simplifies the process. You don't have to do any calculations. You can, even for tax forms, it's easier because it can all go to your, what's
You
the
can
account
just print
called?
out.
QuickBooks.
Mhm.
Like makes it easier. You can sync your Square with QuickBooks,
Right.
so it's easier to file taxes.
Which might mean that they
Yeah,
have to
which-
pay more,
yeah.
but boo-hoo, get in line.
Yeah. I think there's only two reasons.
Mhm.
I was trying to come up with a third because
But yeah,
I think you're right though.
six-
The tax evasion thing probably is a big one too.
but yeah, saving money on food
Oh yeah.
in that
that's-
sense it can be $300 a month. That's a car payment. That's how much I pay for my car.
Right.
So
But also there's another financial independence guy who I was watching the other day who he made a valid point about like the whole coffee a day thing. Like I think
What about it?
people always like,
I don't even know what that is.
the whole argument that like, oh, you shouldn't spend money on coffee every day because
okay.
you're losing a lot
money.
of money.
Okay. Is
But
the
he was
argument?
comparing,
But is the argument you shouldn't buy a black coffee every day, or you shouldn't buy a $5 mochaccino special coffee a day?
I think the argument is any coffee. You shouldn't.
Because if I'm spending
you shouldn't
$2 a day for a coffee,
Exactly. Yeah. So
that's what I'm saying. The black coffee would be like $2.
yeah.
That I don't think. It depends on
even
your
if you're-
financial situation. But
Yeah. Again, yeah, it depends on your financial situation, but like, there's this idea that like, oh, if you just did that, you'd be saving this much a year, which is accurate. But like, there's also a lot of other things that you're probably spending a lot more money on, like insurance and stuff that you could cut back on, or that you could like shop around for,
Yeah.
or like the new iPhone that you just purchased. Other things like there's.
That's true.
And also the other big thing is, like you were saying, depends on your financial situation.
Mhm.
How much money you're bringing in is another aspect that is like very much overlooked.
I think what's important is, and this one guy who's on Joe Rogan's podcast, his name is Naval, Naval or something, and he was saying that you should outsource everything you can whenever you can, when it makes sense. And what he meant by that was like basically think of yourself, any action that you do, think of have a rate, a salary or an hourly rate for yourself. What is my time worth, basically?
Mm-hmm.
And if you're working on something that can be outsourced for cheaper,
Right. Just do it.
then you should. So that could be an interesting way of like if going to get your coffee is worth,
I don't think it's.
if it's worth,
Yeah.
well, in that case, if it's worth your time to go wait in line, get a coffee, then
Right.
by all means do it. But, or maybe, outsource it as in, well, I guess buying a coffee is outsourcing in that you're not making your own coffee.
Right.
But I guess it was an interesting way to look at
Right.
buying things, basically,
Yeah,
is
it's
to
just things that you don't
outsource them. But that also means that you should be using the time you've saved now is time that you're spending on the productive things that make you the X amount of dollars.
Right. Well, yeah, I agree with that. I was just thinking in regards to like my laptop issue. Like I was thinking like, okay, like, what if I just bought a new laptop?
So he did talk about this too, but go ahead.
That would be like another $1,000. And overall, I'll say like so far the process has probably been around 4 hours. Talking to customer service and stuff, which is definitely worth it. But
So he did mention this, and he said like, so I don't know about $1,000 laptop, but he mentioned like if he got something, let's say it was $25, and it was defective, instead of going through an RMA process or something like that, he would just throw it away and buy another one.
Yeah.
Because the time he spends on that whole process, as you said, maybe 4 hours, he could have made more money doing what, if his time is worth $1,000 an hour, he could have made more money instead.
I think for him, it's probably definitely worth a lot more.
Right. I think
I still think I do agree because like there's been some Amazon purchases that I start the RMA thing. I probably wouldn't take that long to box it up and tape it and then go to the store. But like, yeah, I don't know. I guess.
Yeah. But on the other hand, it's like,
I do agree. It's like sometimes it's like, screw it, let me just throw it away and buy a new one.
Yeah. I guess that's also kind of wasteful. So the only problem with this philosophy is that it's very...
Oh, you're generating waste?
Well, it's very you're generating waste, basically.
But that would be the case anyway. Like, what would be your alternative? You return it?
It gets fixed, and then you get it back.
Well, sometimes if it's just broken, like sometimes they'll just send you a new one. Actually, that's most of the times for me.
Yeah, that's true. But if you're buying another one, that's another one they have to make.
Right,
it's another... and again, you have to think about it at scale, right?
Yeah.
It's like if 500,000 of you did that action,
right,
it would create that much more waste. So I guess this philosophy works for you, but it isn't always, I don't know, environmentally friendly or something.
Yeah.
But he also mentioned another thing. Speaking of environmentally friendly, he was saying if you want to, like, let's say, make a change or a difference in the world, you should get rich first.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to do what you can in the low position that you may be at. I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, that depends on how much you're willing to give up, I think. Like,
what do you mean?
You're, for majority of people, I think that's true. Like, you should focus on getting rich, and
because then you can you can really solve
make
problems.
A difference. But like, if that's something you actually enjoy doing, and you don't mind not having like a car, a house, things of that nature, you could work at a nonprofit and not make a lot of money. But like,
I don't think
your living expenses scale down, and you're happy. Like, let's say I'm really happy about helping people and doing a nonprofit work, but it doesn't pay a lot, and I'm not going to make a lot of money.
But it's more of, it's not so much that like,
you'll
rich first.
make a bigger difference if you have
right,
more
exactly.
money. Yeah.
So you can now what you can do is start, if you have a lot of money. So let's think of a problem. I want there to, let's see, what's an issue? I'm thinking of environment because we were just talking about it.
I want to solve hunger for a village.
Yeah, I want to solve hunger for a village. I want to make a difference, an impactful difference. Yeah, I suppose you could work for some nonprofit, and you're part of maybe the operations team,
or you're part of the team that's training this village on irrigation and staying there long term to help build the infrastructure, maybe at
right.
lower
Okay,
cost.
fine.
Versus I'm paying people to
Sorry. What was the
build
issue we're
that
fixing again?
infrastructure.
I forgot.
Food for a village.
Oh, food for villages.
Like
or
self-sustain.
if you got rich, so your impact, I think the argument is your impact if you had that job for, let's say, 30 years versus, I don't know, maybe spending, say, 20 years getting rich, and then that last 10 years, let's say you made it, you became rich in 20 years, that last 10 years is going to probably, you can have a way larger impact. I don't know what you would do, like set up institutes to teach farming methods to villages, and then also provide them with the materials to produce food. But I guess the argument is if you spend, let's say, 20 years to get rich, and then that last 10 to have an impact on the world, as opposed to 30 years, in the lower thing, you would have a larger impact in the first situation.
Right. I think getting rich allows you to just scale it and makes it like 10 times easier to fix the problem.
Or even to fix the problem, because you could spend 30 years trying to fix the problem and then you don't.
Right, but you could do the same thing with money. You could invest all this money and then it gets stolen, which happens a lot in nonprofits. So,
well, I mean, if it gets stolen, I mean, you could say that about the first thing too. You could.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like those issues can run across the board. But I agree. Like money would definitely make it a lot easier and make it could make it more lasting than if you're working. But I don't know. I feel like if you're going in that field, I don't think there would be anything wrong with going into it straight away if that's what you enjoyed doing, like in the first place, right? Like you don't have to wait to get rich to start helping. While yes, Bill Gates and other
people, it's not waiting, but
you're waiting in the sense that you're building your wealth,
right?
To get to that point where you could start making a big impact,
right?
But I don't know. I don't think it's.
I guess could you say then that you can agree?
Because I think the same thing with business, right? Like you could technically do a lot more if you worked as an engineer, built more income to have a business that can scale a lot better and reach a lot more people. But what if you just want to start working on your small business as a web designer? Yeah, you're not going to scale and make as much money as if you saved up the money to build the business.
Right.
But like you enjoy doing web design and you enjoy just running a smaller business, you could do that too.
That's true. And in that case, I guess what you're answering is I don't really care to make a big impact. I more care about like my own interests.
Yeah, I agree with what he's saying, but like I don't agree that that's the way to do it. I think it's subjective to what you enjoy doing.
Yeah, that's true. I have nothing. Right. I have nothing to follow up with that.
Concluded.
Yeah, I guess the problem is it's not, well, I mean, it's obvious that it's not easy to make money, but also the more important thing is especially if I'm not interested. So let's say I want to do environmental work and I want to have a large impact. But obviously you're not going to make a lot of money if you're working in that field from the bottom. But the problem is well, I'm only interested in that, and I could make money as an investment banker and then make an impact, but I'm not interested in investment banking, so I would be sacrificing 20 years of hell to make an impact in the environmental world. But that's not I'm not willing to.
And also, I think yes, you're more likely to make a bigger impact if you have a lot more money.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're going to an area where the value of the currency is already depreciated a lot, I still think you can make a pretty big impact with like a lower amount of money. Like one example that comes to mind is the micro loans of the guy who went to Bangladesh.
Mm-hmm.
Like he wasn't investing that much into the community with the bank that he was creating. And he wasn't generating, I don't think he was generating that much interest either initially.
Right.
But eventually it kind of scaled and built up. So I think it's still possible, but yeah, I agree. If you're thinking like, oh, I want to make a big impact, then you should probably make more money, or you should have a sizable income to make a big difference in a shorter amount of time.
Yeah.
Which is something I would be like, I think when I'm 60 or retired, I would like to do that. Like if I don't find a business that would interest me, or something that I want to build, and I could probably do that either way if I was motivated to, but I would want to go into the, what do they call it? Like what do Bill Gates, philanthropy?
Like their foundation.
That area. If I was just, because like I feel like at that age and you're retired, you're gonna have a lot of free time. I'd be bored and be like, let me, I don't know, try and solve some sort of issue with hunger in this San Jose area or something.
Right. Yeah, I guess the weight of your interest in solving a problem is greater than. Yeah, I guess I'm repeating myself, but to make it would be very difficult to make a lot of money in a field you're not interested in to make an impact in the field you are interested in, because I think that's the main thing. It's unrealistic. But yeah, that guy, other than that, had some pretty interesting stuff. So he's
on entrepreneurship and stuff.
Yeah, he's some investor. He invested in Twitter. He's the co-owner of Angel List. It's some angel investor website.
He's an investor in it, or he created it?
He co-founded it.
Oh, okay, cool.
And yeah, his philosophies on life are interesting. Although it does show it's a lot of it is very he can say it because he's rich kind of thing. Like it's easy to say it from up there, which is fine. Like what are you saying?
Which is why they're saying it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's true. I wouldn't expect him to say anything else.
Yeah.
But for people who aren't rich, it's like what he's saying is true.
Yeah.
It's just, I guess it's hard to relate to, and he's trying to throw nuggets out to everyday people to say, hey, this is how you connect to these ideas. But again, it's like, it's not that easy. Which brought up an idea I had about like taking things for granted not being that big of a deal. So for example, when you waste food, people will say, oh, think about the kids in Africa like starving,
right,
or something like that. Or I'm trying to think of a better example.
Like,
but basically,
things that you take for granted that you
but it doesn't
realize it, or
no, but it's like it doesn't matter. So the response is, think of the kids in Africa, but then the counter response is, it doesn't matter. We've already solved that problem. Or it'd be like like when you fly in an airplane, and then let's say there's long lines or something, and you're complaining,
right, and
then a response to that could be, oh, can you just you should be amazed at like the fact that you're flying in a metal tube in the air, and as a way to discredit your complaints about long lines or something.
Oh, okay.
Have you heard someone say that before?
Yeah. I agree with that just because.
But
it gets rid of the, like, you shouldn't, or just don't try not to complain.
Yeah, but my counter argument is actually it's fine to complain because that's the standard now. I mean, because with that logic, then you can't complain about anything. I mean, I could look back to cavemen and pull out any analogy and say they didn't have this.
We used to have,
exactly. So I don't even know what that is, what the idea is there, but I just thought, like when I was thinking about this guy and what he was saying, I was thinking, oh, it's easy for him to say because he's rich.
Yeah.
But then I thought, well, he's just reached that high new standard that's in front of me, that if I was there, those are the things I'd be talking about.
Yeah.
So it's not like he's not wrong, and you're not wrong to say, I already forgot the example I just gave, but you're not wrong to complain about lines at an airport because that's the standard now, and these are the things we need to improve. And
I think you're obviously allowed to complain about anything. My only issue with it is like, you should only be vocal about it if you're going to do something about it.
Yeah, I agree.
Because it's like, what you're basically doing is you're stating the obvious. You're just making it more, negativity more prevalent, which we're all already aware of.
Mm-hmm.
So like what?
Yeah, I agree.
What
there's
good
a
is coming out
problem.
of this?
There's a problem.
Yeah.
Don't tell me what the problem is because we all know.
Yeah.
If you're going to do something about it, let us know. Hey, I'm going to go solve this or try to. All right, man.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
100% agree with that.
Because I mean, one good example is let's say how I hate these long lines.
Yeah.
Okay, well, from what research I did online, it looks like this airline has a better track record of their boarding the plane.
Mm-hmm.
Let's spend the extra $100 and go with them rather than, I don't know, Southwest or whoever.
Yeah, and then you can get into a sense of entitlement when you say, well, I'm the customer. I paid money for this service. This is not what I paid for.
Right.
But I think
you've already made that choice. Yeah,
not only that, you saying I deserve this because I paid for it is not going to fix anything. So then you're just stuck in your own infinite loop of nothing getting solved.
Yeah.
Or just waiting until something happens.
Actually, I was thinking that with the customer service thing. I was just thinking about the people they have to deal with, and to be honest, I told them exactly what I had already done, thinking that it would, we wouldn't have to go through the whole process. But of course, it's standard. Yes. They have to. So. We did the reformatting of the computer, the issues that and I already knew, and I told him, I was like, I had already done this, but I'll do it anyway because it's standard process or whatever. But I could have easily just been very annoyed, I already did this. Why am I doing this again? But is that really going to make the process go faster? Probably not, because they still have to check mark and see okay, did he do this?
Right.
No, he hasn't done this.
And actually those thoughts lead to kind of a philosophy that I've adopted, and generally it's assume you're going to pay for something and you will get nothing in return. Just assume that from the go. So what I do now is, that's why I don't go outside a lot, because you go outside, 100% guaranteed traffic jam somewhere.
Yeah.
You're going to be in traffic. So when you go outside, assume you're going to be driving in traffic.
Yeah.
Okay, let's think of something else. Go in the grocery store, you're going to be waiting in a long line. There's only going to be one register open.
Yeah.
So you should think about these things. If you're buying a plane ticket, don't wait in line saying, I paid for this service and this is pooey. How come I don't get peanuts anymore or something? You should have assumed that you weren't even going to get on a plane. You were going to get to the airport and the plane left. There's a plane for you. An hour early. And literally take it to those extremes. And those are extremes.
Yeah.
But because then nothing will make you upset.
Yeah,
if you honestly assume you're not even going to get on a plane, the fact that you're sitting on a plane, you'll be like, wow.
My God. Yeah.
And that can be hard for people to internalize. And because when you say it to yourself, you're aware that you're like, I'm only telling myself this to lower my expectations. But
yeah.
but I
It's
think
a
if
good
you
way, it's a healthy way of thinking. 'Cause-
yes, and then the other thing is, if you do identify problems, you go in along the line, you're like, well, I expected this.
Yeah.
Then the next question should be, you have two options: either I don't care,
Mhm.
or I know how to solve this, and then go home and figure out how to solve it.
Right.
Which could be
Do
the
research
self-check.
to
There's
mitigate the
many
damage.
ways. Yeah, there, you can either avoid the store altogether because you found an alternative. Maybe you can start your own POS, point of sale system, like you mentioned it earlier, Square or something,
Yeah.
and start selling it to industries,
Yeah.
which will help provide self-checkout, which will be faster.
Or even to the lines. Now I have the global entry TSA pre. Like when I saw the long line, super long line,
Yeah.
and I was even surprised because like you know how you have to like fill out that stupid
Yeah,
form
yeah,
saying
yeah.
I'm not a terrorist or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't even take that. Like they just like let people in like
Mm.
through the global entry. Like I just like walked.
Yeah.
They didn't question me or anything.
Yeah. So
So
when you go through those options of how could I make this better,
Mhm.
you realize that it's a lot of work, and generally if you're smart, she'll shut up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you think about all the possible solutions on how to fix this or why this is even a problem, then you understand the system, as opposed to just not knowing anything and complaining.
Right.
You understand how complex the system can be.
Or I think more importantly, you find ways to work around it. Like even the DMV, doing it going to the DMV Christmas Eve,
Mm-hmm.
no lines at all.
Yeah,
And I
that's
was
true.
lucky with that. But I think if you just have that mindset, or I should say when those situations do happen, you're
Yeah,
less likely to
it's about preparation, I guess.
be, like mentally and like actually prepared.
Yeah,
Um,
and a lot of gold nuggets here
yeah.
for you viewers out there.
Yeah. For
Your
all
life
you
can
zero.
become much better. Increase the quality of your life. Brought to you by WittyBantr.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are some good.
And that's why I don't go outside.
I do go outside, but I'm more prepared than I was previously.
And
I think.
When I used to have a job, and when I do have a job, I always tell myself I'm gonna like come in early, leave early kind of deal to avoid traffic, or the other way, usually it doesn't work that way. Come late, leave
Yeah.
late. But then at least in New Jersey, I never did that. I ended up just coming on time and then just eating the traffic. But maybe I'll.
I think if you work south and you're taking 280,
We're talking about the San Francisco Bay Area here.
I think you'll be in the clear. Like I still do hit traffic, but like it's not
It's not that
it's
bad.
not unbearable. Yeah,
Mhm.
which I've heard 101 is. I haven't even attempted that.
I used
I've
to take
been through
101.
it when we went to the Childish Gambino concert, and that was like,
concerts? Forget
But-
about it.
It wasn't even actually. This also brings up another point, but it wasn't even like near the concert where there was bad traffic. It was on 101 because it was after. It was like around 6 with Faisal. But also I was thinking of the NBA finals. So people were getting pissed off that so the Golden State was like losing in the like fourth quarter, like the last 3 minutes. People were like, wow, like fans are leaving already. And this is like the last game in the stadium before they move to San Francisco. That's so disrespectful. Why aren't they like
It's a
cheering
sport,
on their
man.
team?
Calm down. It's
Yeah.
a sport.
Yeah. Why aren't they cheering on?
This isn't a funeral.
Yeah.
This isn't something
They were
else.
saying that they should like encourage the players while they're down, like, and also this
Trust
is, like,
me,
last-
they don't
but-
care about your
Yeah, I was
encouragement.
gonna say,
They're professional ball players.
One, I don't think they care.
They want you to shut up, probably.
But two, I'm not trying to deal with the traffic coming out of Oracle Arena.
Yeah.
Like, I don't give a shit if it's the last like game
Also,
they're ever gonna be in the
This is
arena.
the dumbest argument. They need your support.
Yeah.
Saying woohoo is not gonna make them magically score a 3-pointer.
Well, maybe it does.
You're.
Not,
I
like,
don't know.
Maybe
If you're
it-
in the zone, you're
Yeah.
in the zone. The crowd is out of there. You think Kobe
Yeah.
Bryant was thinking about?
Yeah.
He's like, Thanks, man.
Or like, but maybe like the adrenaline goes, like maybe if they're like Kobe, and you're like, like I'm a god.
Honestly, I don't think. I think the
plays
good
any-
ones, they zone everyone out.
I agree.
I mean, I'll just take Kobe as an example. I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
he said this in an interview where he just says, everything is just quiet to me. I just zone in.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I don't think your cheering is going to affect their shot.
Yeah.
If anything, it might throw me off. If my adrenaline starts peaking irregularly, like, what?
Yeah.
They're cheering. I can't choke now. Oh, no.
Yeah, everyone's.
Oh,
That
shoot.
sounds
Everyone's
If
looking.
anything, you have the disadvantage at home, but yeah, I think that was such a stupid. Like, there was a lot of people. Like,
Who's they also?
if just people online.
Okay,
like
social
whenever,
media.
like, because people post it and then you can see the likes.
Right.
And you can tell when something's a popular, even on Reddit too. Like,
Right.
where I think people are generally impartial, but maybe they're not. But they were making the same argument, and I'm like, dude, if I spend money on it, it's my ticket. I can do whatever the hell I want. If I'm not having fun and like I want to avoid traffic, I'll leave like whenever I want.
Yeah.
And the risk is on them too, because them leaving early, the Warriors easily could have won. And it could have been an amazing game, like the Sharks game that happened. They were losing by like 4 points.
I risk seeing an epic
ending.
ending.
An epic ending. So, yeah, I don't know. I think it's such a stupid argument.
And what's funny is
Like, I know
something
why.
like that. It would go on one of my discredited, like something I wouldn't even pay attention to. And so I guess my question is, what makes so like it like if something was popular, like this when I'm on the internet, there'll be popular what seem like popular things that like to me, I just think, oh, these people are stupid. Like I'm not even gonna pay it any attention. Like if I clicked a video about some drama thing and I can tell that it's stupid, I immediately like leave the video.
Yeah.
And this for me, I didn't see it, but it would have been like, I don't really care. I mean, you could complain that you didn't wipe your butt properly, and that's a very popular thing.
Right.
We don't have to comment about it.
I think people just like complaining
But-
about like not being a real fan, like is the main bandwagons or whatever.
Yeah, well, they pay the bills, so
Yeah.
bandwagons definitely pay the bills. Okay, your 5% loyal fans don't cover all the costs for the $50 million contract.
Yeah.
And all the gear and stuff.
And the merch.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought that was an interesting. Like, I didn't think people pay that much attention to people leaving, but I guess that is.
Yeah, I think there's just. I think with the internet, the problem is it's so easy to turn turn something that's not important into something that's popular, and then the confusion comes in: is this important or not? Because it's hard to tell. If something's popular, you generally think it has some importance, right?
Right.
So the problem is like, now and then you get this sense of like, wow, people really think this? But then I think if you get exposed to this kind of, I think with the internet, we're seeing waves of stupidity or things that like are popular that, and again, it's pretty opinionated, what is something worth talking about and what isn't. But as a consumer, you just have to look at waves of popular things and then go, am I even going to pay this attention? Like, do I even care about this? Is it important? Is it something silly that doesn't matter? And I don't know where I'm going with this.
Yeah. I was confused as well, but I guess you're just saying that there's a lot of information out there.
Yeah. So if
you have
people
to filter and see what is worth your
time and to even just think about, not even respond, but like process. Because if you think about it and it makes you feel bad, then you shouldn't have even thought about it in the first place. Should have been like, this is a silly thing. Who cares about people wanting to leave a sports game early?
Yeah. I think the only reason why I mean, obviously, sometimes it just appears. Like, if you're just on Instagram, it'll just show up.
Right.
And so, I mean, you obviously don't have to use the platform.
Actually, what I do...
For me, I'm more interested in seeing, like, okay, why is there a group mentality of in agreement with this?
Yeah.
Is there something I'm missing?
I've given up on this, by the way, but go ahead.
And then I also do like self-reflect. I also think like, okay, is there anything I look at that or have an opinion on that is as irrational as this? You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
So those are the only two things. Like,
yeah.
Sometimes I'm interested more in like the sociology, I guess, of the group mentality.
That's true. Yeah, I think it's just that. So
because it's easy to like you can say they're just stupid, but like
but it is a like, thing that exists.
It is yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think
there is like some sort of mentality behind it, or maybe there's some sort of inherent trait that we all have of like, oh, you got to stay with the clan or whatever. I don't know.
I think what is happening is, again, goes back to just the ease of technology. That's not a sentence, but the accessibility that technology gives you. So like you have tons of thoughts that you don't even say. You're walking you're walking to your office from the restaurant and you're like, oh, that person's fat. You don't say it. You just look at someone and maybe you think it. Mm-hmm. Or there's just a bunch of things that you think that, so maybe you're sitting at a sports game and maybe you don't even say it out loud to a friend or anything. You just see people leaving and to you it's disrespectful. I'm trying to think of a different example. Okay. So for example, someone switching lanes without their indicator. I always think, what an idiot. Like just be respectful to everyone. Turn on your indicator, help prevent accidents, and give me some information that you're making a move so I can be ready.
Right.
So I think that. I don't tell anyone, but I think with Twitter and whatever, one person says something like that, and it just so happens to be a group of people who agree with me.
Right.
And so these little micro thoughts can become viral. And again, it's not important. Someone not using their indicator is not that important.
Well, it is. I mean, people's lives are at stake.
Yeah, but that guy, it is. But people are still going to, I can make a huge PSA about it. People are still going to not turn the indicator on. Right. That's not how you solve that problem, if that's what you're looking to do.
Well, I was thinking more of like the cell phone thing. I think that
people still text and drive.
Yeah, people still do, but like I guess there's no facts I have to back it up. But I feel like those advertisements do have an impact on people using.
Yeah, that's true. So you can put out
I've
scary
done it as well too before, where like a notification will pop up. Like months ago, I was thinking of that. Like,
okay, I agree. Let me think of something else. Okay, using your indicator is important, and making it, bringing an awareness to it would be good.
Maybe cutting in line. I don't know.
Yeah, cutting in line would be something that I look and I'm like, come on, dude, everyone's waiting in line. Yeah. And then there might be another group of people that think, oh well. Like if let's say it was a movie and like this person's like mom's dying and they have to get cut the line. Yeah. So like if you're if you look at it from that perspective to a different group of people, they might say, oh well, this person's mom's dying, just let them cut. What is it to you? So anyway, my point is everyone has an opinion, and now we can give out our little micro opinions on every little thing. It's so easy with your phone.
Right.
And then people are always scrolling.
Right.
Like, oh, I'm at the game. Let me see what people are saying about the game. And then they see that and they're like, yeah, the group of people who agree with people are leaving the stadium are disrespectful, start liking it. And then it's just this thing that like is not that important. Like people cutting in line is like, you shouldn't, but you don't have to make a big PSA about it. And that's not even going to solve the problem too.
Yeah.
My point is, you have to just develop your own filters, because there's going to be a lot of these things that come.
Right.
And it's like,
do you think it's just not? So I guess you've already answered before, but so you don't even like to understand or pay any attention.
Nope, because I know it's stupid. It's like reading comments on YouTube.
Some of them are funny.
No, that's true. That's the sad part, is that there are always funny comments, and but I know that there's just like, and what's funny is like someone will say something so stupid, just like it doesn't make any sense. It's illogical.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, this guy's an idiot. But then there's like 50 replies, and then I'm just, before I even click the drop down to see them all, I'm like, this is a flame war. People are eating each other in here, and I shouldn't click it just because I don't like to read toxic things. It doesn't make me feel good.
Yeah.
But then sometimes I'll click it and I'm like, this is exactly what I expected. Like someone's calling someone a bad word. Like, and it's just, and there's no like logic in it. And then like, what's funny is some people try to be like logical, but like
they just get shut down.
No, they like cherry pick information, and like some of their sentence makes sense, but then like they're missing the point. People go on their own tangents.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, nobody is talking about this. And anyway, that becomes a huge wormhole. And so, I literally pay it no attention. At least I try to.
Some of them, I don't know, maybe it's just as of recent. I guess it depends on what channels you're going on, what videos you're going on. But some of them, I think that, like, the argument, I've actually seen ones where their arguments are pretty healthy, where it's like, they'll be talking about, what was it? Oh, a review on a cell phone. It was like an LG phone. And some guy was like breaking down like, okay, these are some of the points you missed. Your overall message is like wrong for these reasons. And the guy who posted the video actually responded and was like, hey, thanks for this feedback. Like,
see, this is how it should work.
Yeah.
Wait, what were we going to say?
But you, what? Oh, I was going to say, but there are definitely channels like, I guess. Well, the one thing that now I've definitely banned is like the Yahoo News comments. Because like
those have been bad since 2005.
They're always like
very right-leaning.
I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
But they're like so extreme, like it's just like I can't take it. Like
that is
like, see, this is why all immigrants are like it's just like, but the like surprising part for me is always like they'll have like 1,000 upvotes. I'm like, dude, are they getting bots? Like, or is this like a real?
No, this is part of the problem. I'll notice it's like people can't be moderate. Like they have to go into these crazy generalizations, extremes. No, it's both ways. And then that's the whole flame war that they have is like extreme left, extreme right, like hitting each other.
But they don't try to find a middle ground, I guess.
Yeah. And then you can't even, and if you go in to one of these crazy forums and try and give a middle ground thing, then you get attacked by like both sides. You're like, you're too vague or something like that. I don't know.
I don't actually engage in any conversations, but like I'm always curious as to what the argument is, what the middle ground. If it is that stupid, like if it's something like some outrageous comment and like there's no reasoning, or you can tell they're maybe just a troll. I agree. I just exit out. It's like
so a lot of times I'll just like I don't know, it's not ban, but like block whole like channels. If I'm going through YouTube,
tried that. It doesn't work.
What do you mean?
Like I've tried. There's
something I'm not interested in.
There's an NBA commenter. I'm blanking on his name. Faisal knows who he is, but like he always makes these like stupid like
comments.
Yeah, outrageous comments. I can't even tell if he's
joking.
Yeah, if he's trolling, because like he says it in a serious way. Anyway, like it just annoys me. I forget what his name is. Damn it.
Is he on TV?
I think he is.
Okay. I mean, there's that bench of analysts is like Shaq and Charles Barkley.
No, not them. Those guys are pretty funny.
Yeah.
He's a guy with blonde hair.
Okay.
Anyway, so like I've tried like, because he'll appear on YouTube and on
Reddit,
on Instagram. And so like, yeah, it's just very annoying. So I blocked his Instagram, and I blocked the YouTube, or I told YouTube like I'm not interested in this. I think it still pops up. Like,
that's weird.
What the hell? Like I don't.
For the most part, when I block something,
it's
the YouTube
good.
one it says not interested. There's no block.
Yeah. Okay.
So the not interested it could mean, okay, you won't get this type of video. But then what does that even mean? What is this type of video?
Maybe it's because it, like, if you watch NBA related content, maybe it's not his channel but I'm pretty sure I saw his channel pop up.
There should be a way to block the channel,
I think it might be reposts from other people as well that'll pop up.
Right.
Like, if someone like posts the clip of him saying something.
Right.
But yeah, I wish there was a way of having like facial recognition where it's like, this is the guy I don't want to see anywhere.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure maybe it'll get to that point.
I mean, the business idea I want to $1 million, $1 billion idea is programmatically generated content where it'll just cater to you. It'll be like experimental interests. I don't even know how to explain this. I'm talking about automated 3D games. Like games they're not like one guy or a team drawing art and designing. It's like programmatically generated content.
Yeah.
It's very, I mean, that's huge. That's a huge concept. That could mean anything. But I think the future will essentially be, right now you have to scroll through the content you get is just based on human created content. It's very specific and very, I'm scatterbrained right now, but basically I think the future could be, one possibility is where the videos you watch will be generated like as you're watching them, or even just based on what you're watching. I don't know what that looks like. It's very complex. But then again, if somebody described the internet in the 1950s, that would also be complex. Yeah. A network of computers? What are you talking about?
Wireless?
Not wires. So I think, that's something I'm working on it's not something I'm working on.
Yeah.
My brain's moving a mile a minute. It's something I've thought about and wants to work on as a project over like 20-year span.
I think that would
with games more specifically. So it's like, and these little micro assets of games where people can, even other than AI helping build it, people can build assets and then put together game modes. Let's say there's a game and you think something's unbalanced. You can fork. I think we talked about this before. You can fork a version, but tune it the way you think it's right. And then if other people agree, they can play that version of the game or whatever. But just that whole, everything is like fluid.
Right. I feel like the focus is more towards, at least right now, towards the hardware versus the like software of producing games.
And what do you mean by that?
Like, I think they are more, I guess Google is the first thing that comes to mind, of trying to...
Google Stadia?
Yeah.
Yeah. That I thought about that before it came out, believe it or not. Just like how I thought about Reddit before I knew Reddit existed.
Yeah. Well, I thought about tablets before they existed as well.
Okay, fair enough.
But
and you should be proud of that.
Yeah. Should I?
Yeah, I thought about tablets before tablets. But anyway, what were you saying? I actually think it's more soft. I think software is playing a bigger role, because what's happening with hardware is that I've seen this said by technologists on the internet, so take it for what you will, but that Moore's law, where like computing power it grows exponentially. So technologists are saying that that's kind of breaking down, that hardware is improving, but that the rate at which it's improving is getting less.
Yeah.
So I think that
the only thing that comes to mind are graphics cards for me. NVIDIA's RTX versus.
Yeah, well,
I guess that's a valid.
It's like that's all that they got.
Yeah.
was ray tracing, which is funny because ray tracing is not a new concept. Okay. It has existed, but these are just cards. These are the first hardware. That
it's just funny that like the only two popular games that adopted just flopped, like completely. Anthem and Battlefield.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true though. It's like, really, this is.
Yeah. So I think, especially I think AI is going to be a big one, where it's just automated things in general.
Yeah.
And that is all.
I don't even think Google definitely. I'll believe it when I see it, kind of thing.
The Stadia thing.
Yeah, like they're trying to claim that it's gonna be better than just what your current desktop is.
No, I don't think so. They're headed in the right direction. They're definitely first in market. This is how
I think they underestimate people's internet connections, though.
Yeah, that's true. Internet connections and just I don't know. For middle America, I don't know. Buying a $200-$300 Xbox is not a huge
investment.
cost of entry.
That's
That's essentially what you're trying to solve.
right.
It might be better with the gaming computer, the $2,000 gaming computer, but I don't even know if you're going
That's a
to be
good
giving
point.
that performance out there. But it's a step in the right direction. It's one of those things. It's like ray tracing kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's like cool. It's cool to have. This is an improvement that
I
we
think
should
the
have.
difference is this compared to ray tracing is this seems like it's would have a bigger impact if it was successful.
That's true.
Like
That's true.
bigger impact is in like if you could get to the point where even I'm not even sure if all consoles are around 250, but like if they got to the point where even the $400-$500 consoles maybe with a bigger memory and stuff like that.
I think
were
consoles
placed-
are pretty cheap. I think maybe the
though.
best ones are probably 500.
Yeah.
But I haven't bought a console obviously. But I think you can get a good one for 200.
Right, for not too much.
Um,
But like even like I feel like with this technology, they don't have to wait for the next gen thing to.
yeah.
Like theoretically, every year they could have a new update that
Mhm.
increases performance and graphics and stuff.
It's really, it's not even for consumers really. It's for developers.
I think it's for consumers.
It's
Well,
for
that's the intention. How else are they going to get money?
No,
from it?
yeah, but like it makes no difference. Okay, if I have to pay $200 for an Xbox or play on, like I want to play NBA, I either have to buy an Xbox and buy the game. Well, you always have to buy the game, but buy an Xbox or have this Google Stadia, which has a free model and also a not free model. It's not a huge, for most people, if I want to go buy an Xbox for $200, that's not a game breaker. So what I mean by it's not for consumers is that exactly what you mentioned, where developers don't have to wait for the next gen hardware to come out
Right.
to start working on it. Now, if everything's through the cloud and everything's just streamed, we can
You're not
update.
dealing with different SKUs of.
Yeah, and you can update the hardware as you go. You don't have to wait in big chunks.
Right.
And that the other problem with Stadia is it's only going to be as good as the games that the developers make. You know what I mean?
I think that's the case already. Like, I think that's a universal problem, though. I don't think that's a unique to Stadia, right? Like, if the developers suck at developing graphics,
Yeah. Well,
And they just-
well, what I meant is you'll also need, I don't know, you'll need people to either port existing games or make games on Stadia. Because developers right now, okay, they make games and they make it for
right.
Xbox, PC,
They'll have to make it
PlayStation.
exclusively
They'll have to
for-
put more work in to do this, and then the developers are going to have to sit down and say, okay, how much business are we
Right.
going to get from the Stadia
Which
thing?
is the same issue with VR, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So we're 13 minutes over time. We don't
Oh,
want to.
damn.
We don't
All
want
right,
to give
yeah,
these
yeah.
people too much content.
Yeah.
That's just.
Yeah,
You know,
it's-
this is a free podcast, so this is
Yeah,
what
we
you're
don't
getting is
agree.
gold, but we don't want to
Yeah.
give you too much. So.
Exactly. So we'll sign off there.
Yeah. So hopefully Nika comes in next time, but if not, we'll have another conversation. Thanks for tuning in, and until
Toodaloo.
next time, toodaloo.